Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that asks, if Mr. Spock has pointed ears, then what does Mr. Scott have? Engineers! Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Star Trek Ascendancy Vulcan High Command from Gale Force Nine.
Full speed ahead, Mr. Sulu. My crazy concubine awaits. Mr. Spock, don't interfere. You are my science engineer. At Warp 9, it's girls a bust. Oh, 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 this goes far more deep than lust. Because my name is Captain Kirk. That's Siberius Kirk. My 5-year mission is to find, my crazy concubine.
In Star Trek Ascendancy Vulcan High Command from Gale Force 9, the Vulcan faction plays very differently than the other factions in the game, has different winning conditions, and does a lot of other kooky and interesting things. Now, first of all, the Vulcans start with 3 Ascendancy tokens. But wait a second, everybody wins the game with 5 Ascendancy tokens, right? Not necessarily, not with the Vulcans. First of all, the Vulcans can't really militarily take over other places, other worlds. They can't colonize other worlds. So they have to spend Ascendancy tokens in order to do that. So their culture is kind of an investment in expanding their empire. Now, instead of the regular path to victory for the Vulcans, here the Vulcans have different ways they can win. Instead of just the supremacy, militarily conquering another player or gaining the 5 Ascendancy tokens, what the Vulcan player must do is they have 2 agenda cards. They have a deck of agenda cards, they draw 2. One of them is face up for everybody to see, and one of them is face down. So essentially what's going to happen is players are going to be aware of only one of the Vulcan victory conditions, but the other one will remain a mystery throughout the game. If a Vulcan player has a trade agreement with another player, then they can go ahead and actually move one of that other player's ships on their turn, provided the other player consents. So they do have some ways to manipulate what's going on throughout the board. If the Vulcan Ascendancy level drops beneath the number of fleets they have, they must immediately disband fleets in order to meet that new Ascendancy number. Vulcans do not build star bases. What they do build are ambassadors, and they can send ambassadors to foreign powers, they can send ambassadors to independent systems, and this is going to give them some important leverage because they actually build their starships through their ambassadors, as though they're contracting with those other countries, other nations, to build their ships for them. Now, other players can, on their turn, remove a Vulcan ambassador from their system, but many of the Vulcans' projects and many of their advancement cards actually go ahead and benefit the player if they have the other player, if they have a Vulcan ambassador on one of their cities. So the Vulcan expansion is very fun, very interesting. It's a very different way to play the game. In one game when I was playing the Vulcans, of course I've got the 2 different agenda cards, and I really like that because there's a secret way that you can win that nobody else knows, that you can secretly work toward, and everybody's just kind of keeping an eye on you, but they're not really sure what you're trying to do, and that is actually very, very fun. I played another game where I was, I think, the Cardassians, and I was playing against the player who was the Vulcans, and he was able to win using a special objective. Some of them are difficult, some of them not so difficult, but it's kind of a random draw. But it's a very interesting way to play the game. I also like the ambassadors. I think the ambassadors are, again, a fun way to play the game because the Vulcans don't have those star bases, but you can kind of give benefits. There's a mutual benefit to having a Vulcan in your system if you're not the Vulcans. So that's very interesting too. Also, the way Ascendancy works, because it's not the victory condition it is for the other players, but you need it to expand your empire, you need it to actually colonize planets, is also very interesting and very difficult at times, very challenging. I think the Vulcans probably are my favorite faction that I played so far from Star Trek Ascendancy, at least of the 4 expansion factions. But they're also probably the most difficult. Like I said, there's a little bit of a learning curve here. It's not bad, but it is there, and they're a fun race to play. So recommendation for the discriminating gamer, again, if you love Star Trek Ascendancy, you really like this game, I might, if you just got the base game, I might choose the Vulcan expansion to buy first, but absolutely buy it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer, and I once tried to sneak in to a Star Trek convention as a doctor, but everybody knew I wasn't the real McCoy.
Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Then we get closer to the enemies and drive them to us, load a bunch of mines, and then get them to go through the mines.
Who are you asking? Yeah, sure, let's do it.